Hello and welcome to our 7-8 minutes of weekly Torah talk. Our guest today is Rabbi Mark Elber of the Temple Beth El community in Fall River, Massachusetts. Hello, Rabbi. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Our parsha is Vayetze. In this parsha, Jacob journeys to Haran. On the way, he sleeps and he has a dream of a ladder connecting heaven and earth with angels climbing and descending on it. In Haran, Jacob works for his uncle, Lavan. Lavan agrees to give him his younger daughter, Rachel, whom Jacob loves, in marriage in return for 7 years' labor. But on the wedding night, Lavan gives him his elder daughter, Leah, instead. Yaakov marries Rachel too after agreeing to work another 7 years for Lavan. Leah gives birth to 6 sons while Rachel remains barren. Yaakov wishes to return home. Lavan persuades him to remain, now offering him sheep in return for his labor. Yaakov prospers, but after 6 more years, he wants to leave Haran and he does it in stealth, fearing that Lavan would prevent him from leaving. Lavan pursues Yaakov, but is warned by God in a dream not to harm Jacob. The first pasuk of the parsha says, Vayetze Yaakov mi Be'er Sheva vayelech Harana, and Jacob left Be'er Sheva and he went to Haran. So, Rabbi, this is surely an eventful parsha, but it begins with a dream, which I must say I never understood. Why do we see angels climbing a ladder? What's the meaning of it?
Okay, so actually, that's the section that I would like to focus on myself. The ladder, the sulam, that whole image of the whole dream, I think is really fabulous. Now, I can't remember exactly where I had originally read this, but one place, some Hasidic text had said that the sulam, the ladder itself, is a human being. So we are the sulam, the planted on the earth, but our head reaching to the heavens. So I think it's a symbol of, so I like to read it symbolically. Not only the pshat, but I like to give it another type of reading. And so I see the sulam as the image of the angels going up and down, emblematic and symbolic of our consciousness of divinity. Whether our consciousness is, let's say, anchored here or stuck here, or are we able to have a vision of something of the eternal one, of God? So I see, and it reminds me actually of a section in Sefer Yetzirah, which is the first chapter of Sefer Yetzirah, right, where it says, "Blom picha mitdaber," that you should, restrain your mouth from speaking, and your mind from thinking, or your heart literally from thinking. But if your mind wanders, turn it to the makom, to the omnipresent one.
Right. Yeah. The makom is what Yaakov is, where Yaakov is falls asleep. Right. He calls it the makom, the place.
Right. So that word, right, and in Rabbinic Hebrew, that term hamakom is a term to refer to God.
Yeah. These heavenly creatures that we see climbing and descending. What is their role in the dream?
So I see it again as an image of our consciousness. And what I think is the really beautiful culmination of this whole dream is where, let's see, what verse is that? Verse 16, where he says, where Vayikatz Yaakov Mishnato, that Yaakov wakes up from his sleep. Vayoma, and he says, Achen yesh Adonai b'makom hazeh va'anochi lo yadati. So literally, indeed, Hashem, God, is in this place. There's the word makom. Va'anochi lo yadati, and I didn't know. But I think when a person has this experience, this direct experience of the presence of God, they wake up. It's as though they were always sleeping before. So they wake up suddenly, and then he realizes, indeed, Hashem is in this place. Which is what place? Everywhere. So I think this is emblematic of an experience that we can have anywhere in the world. It is true that there are midrashim that attempt to find out where is this special place, and they note I think at Bereshit Rabbah, that the gematria of the word Sulam is the same gematria as Sinai. Sinai, Samech Yud Nun Yud.
Right.
That the exact same as the one for Sulam, as it's written here. But I think one more thing I wanted to add. I think you can read this also another way. The Anochi is also the first word of the Ten Commandments of the Aseret HaDibrot.
Right.
So Anochi stands for God's presence as most immediate. So I think this could also be read as Yaakov saying, I didn't know, Lo Yadati Anochi. I didn't have this experience of Anochi. And that word Yada, as in Adam Yadat Chava, also symbolic of union, connotes a sense of union. So he didn't have that incredible experience before that overwhelms him, that is awesome. And then immediately it says, Vayira, and he was filled with awe.
Right, and there is surely a sense of irony to the fact that Yaakov is more awake or more aware when he is asleep.
Well, he has this experience, but it wakes him up. It makes him suddenly more alive, more awake than ever before.
Why? Why does he need such experience at this moment in his journey, at this moment in his story?
One of the reasons is, I guess, he's leaving the land where he was anchored before, where he was standing on the earth, just like the Sulam was on the earth. So, he was anchored in his place in the land of Israel, and now he's leaving. So maybe that's a good reason why he would need. That's a great question. Why he would need it now? Maybe it could be that we always need it. We always need it to become more aware, so that we are truly awake, and we can always become more awake than we were before, I'm sure.
And do you see any change in his approach or his behavior before and after the dream? Do you see this dream as a watershed moment in his life or in the character that we see?
It's interesting. I asked myself the same kind of question, not as much as I would like, because then after it, the reason I say that specifically is because after, a few verses later, he makes this conditional connection with God, like, if you do so and so, then you will be my God. So I feel like, how could he have sunk so quickly? He has this peak moment, and then all of a sudden, it's not quite at the same level anymore.
Yeah, in some ways, we see him going back to being the old Jacob with all the problematic features of his character that we are already familiar with.
But he hasn't become Yisrael yet. That will be the next. But so one of the things that's beautiful here, we do see his development, though it may be slow. Before he becomes going from Yaakov to becoming Yisrael.
Rabbi, thank you so much, and Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom Lecha. Thank you very much.